Welcome to this explainer, where we are going to completely break down exactly why your dog absolutely will not stop pawing at you, and more importantly, the proven strategy to fix it. Look, if you've ever tried to just sit down and relax, maybe you're balancing a hot cup of coffee or you're finally starting a good movie, only to be met with this relentless set of claws scratching at your arm or your leg, well, you are definitely in the right place. So does this scenario sound familiar? You sit down, maybe you're eating dinner, or you're literally just trying to decompress after a long day. And there it is, the paw. Now sure, it might seem kind of cute at first, right? A gentle little tap to say hello, but let's be totally honest here. After a while, it becomes incredibly annoying very, very quickly. It completely interrupts your peace, and honestly, it can feel pretty impossible to stop.
Okay, so here's our roadmap to fix this today. We're going to quickly cover the pawing problem, then the uncomfortable truth, how to stop it, what to do when it gets worse, and finally, new rules and enrichment. Let's dive right in.
Starting off with Section 1, the pawing problem, and why dogs actually use their paws to begin with.
Now, while some dogs naturally just use their paws way more than others, they're generally driven by one of these core emotional states. They might literally just want your attention. Maybe they're bubbling over with excitement, experiencing some deep boredom, feeling anxious, or they're just desperately trying to communicate with you. You see, without clear guidance from us, dogs will just invent their own ways to communicate. And, well, that's usually exactly how these pesky, attention-seeking behaviors take root. Moving on to Section 2, the uncomfortable truth, which is all about the accidental reward. So here is a rather uncomfortable truth that most dog owners completely miss. Your dog actually probably learned this behavior directly from you. Yep, dogs are highly practical creatures. They just repeat behaviors that get results. So if your dog paws at you and suddenly receives attention, treats, playtime, or literally even just eye contact, their brain instantly processes a really simple lesson. Oh, hey, pawing works. That is the exact reason this behavior just keeps happening over and over again. And this brilliantly illustrates the massive disconnect between what we intend and how our dogs actually perceive things. The single biggest mistake owners make is accidentally rewarding the behavior without even realizing it. Picture this, right? Your dog paws your leg while you're watching TV. You look down and naturally say something like, "What do you want?" Well, to your dog, that already feels incredibly rewarding. Even if you just physically push their paw away, that physical touch still feels like attention to them. Dogs really don't care if the attention is positive or negative. They simply care that they successfully got you to react. And sometimes we accidentally make the whole problem much worse. Let's say you try to ignore the first few paws, but eventually you get super frustrated and you finally give them some attention after that relentless fifth paw. Think about what your dog just learned there. Oh, if I just keep pawing long enough, it eventually works. By accidentally rewarding that persistence, you have just created an incredibly stubborn habit. And honestly, this is exactly why some dogs become so extremely persistent with their pawing. All right, Section 3, how to stop it. Let's talk about the extinction protocol. The very first thing you absolutely must do is entirely stop rewarding the behavior. This is your immediate action plan the very moment the pawing starts. Step 1, freeze and totally avoid eye contact. Step 2, completely remove all your attention. No yelling, no talking, no pushing them away. And then step 3, well, this is where the magic happens. The exact second they stop and calm down, you reward them. See, by rewarding them only when they stop pawing and sit quietly, we are actively hacking their internal logic. We're helping them realize that calm behavior is the true fast-track path to getting exactly what they want. They start to think, wow, calm behavior actually works better than pawing. But let me really stress this point. Your timing matters immensely here. If you accidentally pet your dog while they're pawing, even for a single second, that negative behavior immediately gets reinforced and stronger again. Which brings us to Section 4, when it gets worse. This is known as the extinction burst. Before we get to that long-term piece we're looking for, we really need to manage your expectations about what happens immediately next. At first, your dog may actually paw more. And look, this is totally normal. Your dog is deeply confused right now because their old strategy used to work brilliantly for them, and suddenly it's just broken. So their very first instinct is to just try applying more pressure. They may literally paw harder at you. And if pushing harder doesn't work, well, they might escalate to vocal demands. You might see them stand right in front of you and bark just to force you to look at them. Or you might start hearing that persistent, high-pitched whine as they frantically try to figure out these new rules. This right here is exactly where you have to hold strong. They might even start to shadow your every single move, literally pacing behind you from room to room. But listen, you absolutely must remain consistent during this temporary spike in bad behavior. If you can just survive this spike and only ever reward the relaxed behavior, that bad behavior will absolutely break. Your dog will slowly but surely start understanding your new rules.
Finally, Section 5, New Rules and Enrichment. Let's set things up for long-term success.
Simply stopping the bad behavior is really only half the battle. Now we get to the really fun, constructive part, actually teaching them an alternative behavior. Your dog needs something else to do with all that energy and their desire to connect with you. So instead of pawing, teach your dog to sit politely, lay down calmly, or wait quietly for your attention. For example, make it a rule that before you ever reach down to pet them, you ask them to sit first. The very moment they sit calmly, boom, reward them immediately. Once again, we're essentially hacking the dog's mindset to show them a way more efficient, polite way to get exactly what they're looking for. They'll quickly start learning the new golden rule. Sitting gets attention way faster than pawing. And honestly, most dogs genuinely want this kind of clear structure in their lives. But look, we also have to address the underlying fuel for all this behavior. Exercise and mental stimulation are absolutely crucial. A bored dog is almost always a dog that creates unwanted behaviors. If your dog has way too much energy and nowhere near enough stimulation, they're naturally going to look for ways to interact with you, which often ends up being pawing. That is why daily enrichment matters so much. Whether it's physical play like walks, a good game of fetch, tug games, or nose work like sniffing games and puzzle toys, daily enrichment burns off that excess energy that's actually driving the pawing. And please don't underestimate the power of the mind here. Mental exercise is incredibly powerful. To put it into perspective, a highly focused 15-minute mental training session can actually tire your dog out more than a really long physical walk. Giving their brain a solid workout leaves them with way less energy to persistently paw at your leg all evening. Now, before we wrap this up, it is equally important to explicitly cover what not to do, because honestly, one small mistake here can restart the entire stubborn habit. First, don't yell at your dog. To a lot of dogs, yelling just sounds like loud, exciting attention. Obviously, don't hit or scare your dog either. That simply damages their trust in you and creates unnecessary anxiety. And whatever you do, please do not reward the behavior just this once. To your dog, just this once simply means the old strategy still works, and giving in for even a split second completely restarts the entire habit. And remember, this rule has to apply to the whole family. You need to make sure absolutely everyone in your house follows the exact same rules. If one person is diligently ignoring the pawing, but somebody else caves in and rewards it, your dog just becomes hopelessly confused. Consistency from everyone isn't just a helpful tip, it is an absolute non-negotiable team effort. At the end of the day, your dog really isn't pawing at you just to purposely annoy you. They're simply using a tool that successfully worked for them in the past. But the great news here is that you have the complete power to change it. Just stay calm, reward calm behavior instead of demanding behavior. Give your dog clear structure, plenty of exercise, and total consistency. Remember, dogs genuinely feel calmer when they understand exactly what works and what doesn't. So, looking at your own daily routine with your dog, are you accidentally rewarding the paw? And more importantly, what new rule are you going to enforce today to finally break the cycle?